I got shiny new toys to play with today. This week's tutorial is going to be a little different. We're going to make a 6x6 canvas using these gorgeous big fat markers, which I had been dying to try. They're from Faber-Castell, and they're archival, waterproof, permanent, light fast, odorless, acid free, and they're made of India ink, which means that the colors will be very vibrant. So I can't wait to try them. Before I go ahead and start on the project, I want to show you what I'll be using. I have here a 6x6 canvas, and this one has been pre-painted in black. The Artist Pens by Faber-Castell, some Studio Gesso by Claudine Helmuth, the Matte Multi-Medium, some Viva Decor Precious Metal in Silver Gold, Jet Black Archival ink, a little bucket of water with a regular paintbrush, as well as a pair of scissors, a pen, 2 black markers. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to be using, but I have here the American Crafts Precision Pen and also the Uniball Signal in black, 2 different water brushes. I'll be using a stamp set by Suzi Blu. This one is called Angel of Art. Some rhinestones by Doodlebug, the Ladybug Jewels. A piece of paper by Basil called Polka Dot from the Avalon collection. Sticky back canvas also by Claudine Helmuth. And I've gone ahead and printed my text for the canvas on just regular copy paper on my laser printer. I'm working on a craft sheet here, and I just cut a piece of sticky back canvas that measures 5 5/8 by 5 5/8, just slightly a little bit smaller than my canvas. And now I'm just going to fray the edges. I've now frayed the edges of my canvas, and because this frame is sort of like a flexible surface, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the Suzi Blu stamp right onto my canvas, my sticky back canvas, before I actually adhere this piece onto the frame. So I'm using archival ink in jet black to do so. Like this. And now I'm ready to apply this piece of canvas onto the frame. I center that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a small heart out of this piece of pattern paper. So I'm just going to set that aside and just going to trace a heart like this. I want the heart to be placed right close to her wing here, so I'm just going to continue the line of the wing and cut this piece off. Now I'm going to apply some matte medium, and I just use a regular brush, 2 brush, and glue this right here. And what I might do also is put a bit on the sides here, just to make sure that it's properly glued onto my canvas. So I'm going to do a gesso wash, which means that I will have a bit of water onto my brush. This is what it looks like with a bit of gesso wash, and I went over a little bit on the black here. The reason why I didn't stamp over the whole gessoed piece, I wanted to retain that beautiful flesh tone color for the face, because in my artist pens I don't have a flesh tone color, so I'm going to actually use that canvas, the color, for the skin. Before I go any further, I want to make sure that the gesso is really dry, so I'm going to zap it with the heat tool. I'm going to start by coloring her hair. I'm going to be using Scarlet Red, Deep Scarlet Red, and Nougat. And I'll start by giving it a coat of the Scarlet Red. So I'm just going to color all over the hair. And you see how beautiful these pens are. The ink is absolutely stunning, and it really does give a good coverage. So I'm just going to color right over the canvas. Also, the thing that I should mention is that the special material that they used for the brush tip is also flexible, and so you can press on it as hard as you want. It'll always spring back into its original shape, which is great because they'll never really get damaged, especially if you're coloring over canvas. I'm going to start applying some streaks with darker red, which is the deep scarlet red. So already this is darkened a little bit, and then I'm going to go back with the Nougat right on top here, and probably around here. And now I'm going to take my water brush and start applying some water. Right now this water is not diluting the ink a lot because I'm working on an untreated canvas surface, but you'll see later on, once we start applying the ink over the gessoed canvas, it'll give us a much more watercolory effect. And it's okay if it goes onto the face, it'll only add, you know, some character, and there you go. So you can see a bit of the brown throughout, and I'm gonna let that dry and move on to another area, and I might go back into it later on, but I'm not concerned about these because we'll use some more brown on the face just to create more shadow. I'm going to do some decorating on the dress, so I'm going to be using cobalt green and May green. I'm going to start coloring our crown, and for this I'm going to use the silver gold precious metal. I reserve a paintbrush just for that, just because it's a metallic color and I'm just afraid to damage my brushes. So I'm just going to start applying this right over my canvas. So I'm liking this. So you can see the reflection of the metallic color when I move it. And then I'm going to go in with my black. One thing I have to caution you, when you're doing one color over another, make sure that the first color has dried. I just touched the end of the pen right over the blue, and it just spread the color around. So be very careful when you do that on canvas because it's a very, very porous surface. I'm going to put a little bit of white afterwards inside the pupils, but I'm going to wait until everything is dry. So we're now onto the part of adding color to our background onto treated canvas with the gesso. And you'll see that the ink of the marker reacts a little bit differently, whereas it actually reacts to the water, giving it that beautiful watercolor effect. So I'm just speeding this up because the video is going to be way too long, but I just basically increase the intensity of the color. I'm going from a light yellow to, you'll see at the end, a deep red to create the beautiful background. So now I'm adding the text with some matte medium, making sure that I've got a good coverage. And then I'm highlighting with the black gel pen, just to give it more contrast. And I decided to use the other end of my brush to add some dots with the white gesso, just for added texture to the whole canvas. I also gave a wash to my text with the brown marker diluted with water and just added it with my fingers. And I added diamond stickles to the wings. I also wanted to tell you that I decided to add a little bit of gesso to her face, not her neck though, but her face, just because I wanted to give it some sort of cheeks here, some colors, so I added a little bit of gesso, not thick, but a little bit washed, and then I added some red with the deep scarlet red and some water, and I took my little pinky and I just dabbed, and then I spread the color around, and it just gives it a very, very light pink tint. I thought there was still something missing, so I decided to add a black border around the perimeter of the canvas with the black Faber-Castell marker. And I also outlined the heart with the deep red marker. I love it. Now I'm really happy with it. I think the addition of the black checker border makes everything pop. I love, love, love the markers. Look at them all. They're so gorgeous. And it's so funny to see that the colors that are on the actual barrel of the markers are a true picture of the actual ink that comes out of these markers. The tip doesn't get frayed. I use them on the canvas and I can show you. It's as sharp as it was when I first took them out of the box. So another thing I wanted to show you as well is that they are totally bleed proof. If you're actually scribbling on a piece of, oops, I had some black there. If you scribble on a piece of white paper, there's no bleeding. I mean, you'll see the outline because it's red, but it doesn't bleed through the paper. And this is very, very thin paper. So using it on cardstock, not a problem. So I'm going to show you the different parts here. I love the addition of the bling, and I love the wings with the diamond stickles. Fun. So I'm in love with this type of art. I have to admit to you that I was really scared to do this project because I'd never done something of that nature except for the 12 by 12 canvas that I did a few months ago with the Viva Decor products. But this was totally different. I hope you get to try this fun way of arting. Also, keep in mind those amazing markers. I love that Suzi Blu stamp as well. She is called, like I said, Angel of Art, and I decided to use that, incorporate that in the journaling of my canvas. And as usual, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will catch you next week. Bye!